Welcome to the Mystery Mile Case 3. First thing you need to do is separate your household into teams. If you have a small household, you can complete this all together. You will need pen and paper at the ready in order to take notes of each of the interviews that are undertaken. By doing this, it will give you a better chance of solving the case before the end. Before the end, we will pause in order for you to be able to write down who you believe committed the crime. There will also be pauses throughout the Mystery Mile where you will be engaging in physical activity. Please do so. Without further ado, let the case begin.
Hello again. So, did you solve the last case? An interesting one, wasn't it? Just reading up on the next one. Shall we get into it? So, we are in the year 1885 in Liverpool. And the city bank is holding a giant ruby. Now, it belongs to an Annabelle Clifton, a jeweller that deals with wealthy clients. Now, one evening there was an explosion at the docks, which diverted the attention of the police. And as the explosion happened, the ruby was stolen from the bank vaults. The confirmed individuals in the area were as follows. Robert McMorray, a Scottish fisherman harboured in Liverpool. Annabelle Clifton, the jeweller victim in the crime. Stephen Daniels, the bank's security guard. Kathleen Powter, the bank's manager. And then there's Arthur Hitchcock, a known head of an organised gang working in Liverpool. Harriet Smith, who owns her own shop, Smith's Locksmiths. So what we're looking for is who committed the crime and the motive. Let's get on with the case.
Scotland Yard, Her Majesty's Inspection Service? A robbery, you say? We'll send the detective right away.
Hello, you must be Robert McMorray.
Aye, that'd be me. What gave that away? Take it you'll be here about that robbery.
Indeed, I've been brought in from Scotland Yard to investigate this case.
If you're such a great detective, why do they call it Scotland Yard when it's nowhere near Scotland?
I will ask the questions if you don't mind, Mr. McMorray.
Get on with it then. I got fish to catch.
Can you tell me why you were in the area at that time?
Aye, blame the outsider, is it? Tell you exactly why I was near that bank. I was on my way to the bank to get a loan after a terrible week's fishing. You see, I need to get myself some new equipment in order to make sure that I can get a decent catch next time around.
Is there anything you noticed that night that seems suspicious?
Aye. That night you'd be on about. Telling you there's an explosion at the dockyard. Now you can't tell me that's a coincidence.
Now that is interesting. A diversion tactic, perhaps.
Aye, come to think of it, I did see a lady looking out of place. She's dressed all smart and that. Rough put a tune.
Catherine, the bank manager, perhaps.
Nah, it couldn't be her. I know her face. I did see that there gangster though, down by the docks. Looking at some shipment containers. Chipped me boat about 3 times before leaving today. Gotta make sure it's all safe with him about.
Okay, Mr. Memori, you're free to go, but don't go anywhere soon, because I may have some further questions for you at a later stage.
Great. So I'm basically a prisoner in this hellhole.
It's time to find the next character. In order to find the next character, jog on the spot for 1 minute.
Good day, Annabelle.
Oh, Inspector! Are you any closer to returning the ruby? I was storing it for the collector, and if he finds out it's been stolen, well, I could lose my business and my clients. Well, I'm struggling as it is. Everyone seems to think that because I deal with high-value items, that I'm wealthy, but there's not much profit in it for me.
I assure you, Annabelle, I am committed to solving this case, and I will find that ruby for you.
Oh, I do hope so.
Did anyone show any interest or know of you storing the ruby?
Well, the bank knows, of course, and I hear there was no forced entry to the vaults. It must have been an inside job, surely. I hear that security guard complaining about his salary every time I visit the bank. And that bank manager, she's heading towards retirement. That would set her up for the rest of her life.
You seem to know a lot about the bank staff.
Well, I've done my research, Inspector. After all, it was my ruby that went missing. I want to know who's to blame more than anyone.
I understand. But please be careful and leave the detective work up to me.
Okay, Detective, I'm sorry.
Is there anything else that you know that could help?
What about that Harriet Smith? You know, from Smith's Locksmiths. Sometimes she works with the bank. She could have forged a key. And Arthur Hitchcock, I hear he's a leader of an organised crime group.
I can say that Arthur is high up on my list of people to talk to. And your theory behind Harriet is interesting, but I can't see a motive as to why she would be involved.
Oh, please, Detective, please return my ruby.
Thank you for your time, Annabelle.
We need to make our way to the next character again. Jog on the spot, and this time get those heels up, kicking your bottoms.
Arthur Hitchcock, stay right there!
Oh, here we go then. I've already told these other coppers I've got nothing to do with that explosion down at the docks.
You seem to know, Arthur, but I'm not here about the explosion at the docks.
But what you want with me then?
A ruby was stolen from the bank, coincidentally the same time that the explosion at the docks happened.
A ruby? Now that does sound pretty. I'm a businessman, Detective. What interest do I have in rubies?
It would seem that a few people were aware of a shipment at the docks that might have interested you there.
I've already told you, I got nothing to do with the explosion at the docks. I don't know why you're investigating me. Why don't you go speak to the outside of this harbour up at the dockyard?
I think you're allowed a rumour or two to escape, and knew a presence of your gang around the docks helped confirm the rumours. All in a cover-up to hide the fact that your actual intention was a ruby in the bank vaults.
I like the credit you're giving me, Detective, I really do. But as I told you, I got nothing to do with either of them.
So you're telling me the explosion and the ruby are not linked?
I've told you, and I'll tell you again, I ain't got nothing to do with either of them. Now, unless you got something on me, Detective, and you're going to arrest me, I'm going to be on my way.
Okay, I'll be seeing you, Arthur, but don't be leaving town.
Sure you will, Detective.
Oh, here we go again. This time, get your knees up as high as you can and jog on the spot. Once more, do it for 1 minute.
The one and only Smiths in Locksmiths at your service.
Harriet, I'm Inspector Bond from Scotland Yard, and I'm here to investigate the case of the Ruby robbery.
Oh yeah, I read all about that in the paper this morning. I do a lot of work with that bank. Don't you think that's going to be good for business?
Talking of business, have you had any recent visitors of late?
Yeah, I did. I had a few visitors, to be honest, all very interested in different locks and keys. Let me think who we had. There was a Scotsman. He visited and wanted to know all these details about some of the most secure locks that we sell. Don't know why. And then there was a local man he looked quite rough, but he dressed quite well. And he asked a lot about opening a lock he had lost the key to. He actually wanted me to make him a key, but I explained that we can't do that. But I did offer my services, and I said that I could come with him and open it for him, but he wasn't interested. He said he'd find another way. And then there was another lady, actually. There was a lady who was seeking lots of information about how I make the keys, and also what kind of locks I use, and also what would be the best lock for for kind of storing high value items. What's like the most secure lock? So yeah, those three people really in the most recent times. Very interesting.
And none of this seems suspicious to you?
Yeah, I'm a locksmith, so people asking about keys is kind of a daily occurrence for me.
Was anything else brought up in these conversations with these people that you spoke to? Anything at all?
I can't really remember which one it was, but one of the three said to me something about how they're really fed up, and how I can't remember, they said along the lines that they had something of coming in and they were needing to sell it on, but they weren't going to make much profit.
Would you be interested in a ruby?
Me? No, I love my business and I'm proud of it. It's taken me a long time to build this up, and something like this, it would ruin me.
Thank you very much, Harriet, for your time. I know you're very busy. Enjoy your day.
No worries, Inspector. If you ever need a lock and key, then think of me.
Okay, now I want you to put your hands on the floor and then jump up in the air as high as you can. Bit like a froggy.
Mr. Daniels, I'm Inspector Bond, and I was hoping that I could borrow you for a few minutes just to answer a few questions in regards to my investigation.
Yeah, alright, don't see why not. Catherine's going to be along in a minute though.
That's fine, but I'm going to be asking you some questions before she arrives. Can you think of any reason as to why Catherine may have taken a ruby? After all, she's got the keys to the vaults.
To be honest, Detective, I don't think she'd do it. That's her life, you know, working for the bank. After all these years, with countless opportunities, why would she choose to rob the vaults now?
I know that she's nearing retirement, and that ruby would make a good, comfortable retirement indeed.
Is she? I didn't know. Fair point, Detective. But I still don't picture it. Ah, hang on. Here she is now.
Hello, Catherine. Please, come and join us.
I didn't know we had company for our meeting today, Stephen.
This is the detective, come from London to solve the Ruby mystery.
Welcome, Detective. How can I be of assistance?
Let me give you an introduction. I'm Inspector Bond from Great Scotland Yard. I would like to know if you notice anything or anyone strange lurking around the bank on the night of the robbery.
Come to think of it, we occasionally get visited by this friendly Scottish fisherman. But he came in a foul mood. I noticed his boats were harboured at the fishing docks recently, and he had an upcoming appointment with myself about a loan.
Could that be his way of finding a cover story for where he was in the area?
Nah, I don't think so, Detective. I see him down the local. He's had a hard time lately with his catch. I think he was hoping to get a loan or something, get some new equipment, go on another fishing trip.
How would a fisherman know how to get inside a locked vault?
Come to think of it, I did see him talking to that Harriet from Smith's Locksmiths the other day, mind.
Okay, I'll have to speak to Harriet. If you don't mind, Stephen, I'm going to ask Catherine a few more questions. You may be on your way.
Alright, no worries. I'll catch you later, Catherine.
Can I ask you, Catherine, what were you two meeting about today?
Yes, you can. Stephen is always going on about increasing his salary, and with the recent robbery, I thought I would ask him some questions of my own.
Do you believe Stephen could have been responsible?
I hope not. I've always prided myself on choosing the best and most honest staff. He does know the bank inside out, but the problem is he's a talker. So if he told someone some information he shouldn't have, then who knows who could have taken the ruby?
Hoping to retire soon, aren't you?
Oh, well, yes, but that isn't common news. Oh, I remember mentioning it to Annabelle the day we locked the ruby in the vault. She wanted to make sure that it was secure, so she did ask a lot of questions, but I'm not surprised with a jewel that size.
Anything else you'd like to add before I go?
Just that Arthur's gang has been quite active recently, and there has been lots of rumours about them trying to intercept a shipment at the docks, but that's all I know.
Very interesting. Thank you, Catherine. Have a good day.
Pause the video here, and now I want you to do some star jumps. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. The conclusion is near. It is time for you all to write down in big on your sheet who you believe committed the crime. Once you have done that, then you need to ensure that you write down the motive. The inspector is about to reveal the conclusion.
Hello. Hold on. Just give us a bit of peace and quiet. Now, have you got it correct? This case was not very simple to solve, but forever, I think I know who committed the crime and the motive. So, the obvious person to suspect was Arthur. However, he was not involved in the ruby robbery itself. But it is clear that he had something to do with the dockyard explosion. Now, the evidence has made me realise that Arthur's focus was purely on the shipment and not on the ruby. Sightings of him and his gang members at the docks. Rumours getting out about his gang's interest in a shipment container, and finally his visit to the locksmith. The rough and well-dressed local wanting a key for a lock, or maybe a container. When Harriet wouldn't provide the key, but the offer of her services instead, Arthur had no choice but to try the best he can to blast those shipment doors off. With all the commotion at the docks, it was the perfect opportunity for the person that committed the theft to take advantage. Stephen and Catherine. The bank's employees with knowledge and access to the keys would make their ability to steal the ruby an easy task. But thieves they are not. These people were employed based on honest and quite clear to see. Despite Stephen's grumbles of a low salary, he was quick to defend his manager, and his honesty quite clear to see. Catherine seemed to be a proud woman, and a lifetime's work was never going to be thrown away at the risk of a ruby of any size. Robert McMorray, a character for sure, but a thief he is not. Robert could have quite easily have been suspected based on being spotted talking to the locksmith. We might think he was trying to get the easy way into the vault without force. However, when talking to Harriet, I realised that after spotting the gangsters by the docks, he was concerned about his boat and wanted to make sure that his boat was safer. Harriet Smith, the locksmith. The perfect occupation with the perfect tools and skills. But Harriet's business quite clearly is her pride and joy. Harriet was never high up on my suspect list, as there was no real motive unfolding as to why she would have been directly involved. The information she provided, however, was vital to solving the case, which finally brings me to you, Annabelle Clifton. It came apparent to me when we spoke, and that you had done a great deal of research into the potential suspects, feeding me information to divert my attention. For example, Catherine's retirement, which was mentioned to you alone. You also mentioned there was no forced entry into the vault, which the information I didn't divulge myself. When storing the ruby at the bank, Catherine mentioned you asking about the vaults. Catherine, thinking nothing of it, believing you asked to ensure safekeeping of the ruby. Robert spotted a well-dressed lady near the bank the night of the theft, looking very suspicious, recognizing that it wasn't the bank manager, and the only other female suspect being Harriet, who is always in her overalls. Finally, you visited Harriet's locksmith, asking information on how she makes the locks and keys. Most people without the skill set wouldn't be able to mimic the work of a true locksmith by smelting, but smelting is nothing new to a very trained jeweler. It sealed the deal for me when Harriet also mentioned one of her visitors saying about their work involving things coming in and out again, but no real profit made. It could only been in reference to either Robert's fishing or you as a jeweler. So you decided to rob your own vault to take the ruby off the books and then sell it to 100% of the profit to yourself, meaning that you still have the ruby in your possession. Annabelle, you are under arrest.
Oh, please, detective, please return my...
The one and only